Hello and welcome to AM Guitar with me, Anjay. Today I'm doing something a little bit different to what I'd normally do with a new pedal. I'm doing a first impressions of the Valeton GP200JR Jr. First of all, massive thanks to Valeton for sending this out to me. I've reached out to them a couple of years back and we got back in contact when this came out because I just really wanted to give it a go, because I keep wanting to get back into using multi-effects after my catastrophes with the HX Stomp. And they very kindly just said, yep, we'll send that out to you. The idea being that I will be using this now for rehearsals and next month, hopefully getting to play a gig with it. So I wanted to do a review across 3 different stages. One is going to be my first impressions doing it with a rehearsal last week and kind of playing around with it. Second one will be a proper review and a breakdown of some of the functionality. There are lots of videos on the functionality, so I won't go too deep into that, whatever I do. And then the third one will be my impressions of using it in a gig. Now, the first impressions of this are extremely good. I'm not going to lie. I'm not even going to faff around with clickbait or anything like that. This is a really good unit. It's really good because it's very simple. So let's kind of start with the layout. So you start off with this enormous screen, which means that it's really easy to see what you're doing. Unlike some of the smaller screened ones where you're kind of squinting at it. I can see this from a distance. It's very flexible and it's very rigid in different ways. So it's very flexible in how you can set the buttons up, which is really important to me. So initially it's done so you go up and down patches and kind of have a tap tempo. Now I hate that because when I'm playing live, I want to be able to just hit a stomp box. So there is a stomp box mode and you have a complete control over how these buttons are then used. So I've got this set up, let's have a look here. So this is, in this patch, this is my overdrive, this is a phaser, this is delay on and off. If I press both of these together, I get a tuner. If I press both of these together, it turns into bank mode, so I can select different banks. If I press and hold that, it goes down a patch, press and hold that, up a patch, press and hold that, tap tempo. So essentially what I've got here now is 3 different stomp boxes. So if I turn these all off, I've got a really low delay, like a Maxon type analog delay running, just for a bit of extra depth. So that's kind of the first thing that's really simple to use. It's also got this. It's also got your expression pedal, which the Stomp obviously doesn't. This runs as a volume in this mode, and I've got it. Now, to change patches, I can go through the buttons, but I can also just turn this dial. So if I make sure I'm out of edit mode, so here is my octaver. My acoustic patch, another acoustic patch, and then obviously there are loads of built-in presets, and some of them are really nice. Can somebody tell me if they've ever used a ring modulator live? So you can see, switching around and playing with stuff is really quick and easy. But so is editing and manipulating, and that was really important to me, because one of the things that I struggled with when I was using the Stomp was doing live changes. And actually, it's very, very simple to make changes on here without needing a computer. And I haven't even got into the software, and we'll do that in the main review. But let's just say that the software that you can download your PC or Windows or Mac for this is super simple to use and just opens up some real speed editing for you. There's nothing you can do on there that you can't do directly on this, which is really, really important. Which I'll edit a patch in a moment. Other things that are really useful. This has a effects loop. It also has stereo left and right balanced outputs for XLR. Same for just ordinary jack. You have input, and you also have an expression input, so you can put a dual button pedal on there, or a single button pedal, or another expression pedal. It has auxiliary in as well. One of the other cool features, it has a ground lift for the XLRs. Again, really important for playing live. It also has a USB out. So you can it's got USB-C. Now that lets you use the editor, but it also lets you use it as a USB interface, which is how I'm recording this now. So I've got one output going to a monitor amp, and I've got the digital output going to the computer. Which leads us to another really interestingly cool, useful live feature. So I tend to go through the PA system when I'm playing with the band, and also into an amp. So what you can do with this is you can set one of the outputs, left or right, to not have the cab sim on it, and one to have the cab sim. So I can run the one without cab sim straight into the return of my amp, and I can run the cab sim into the mixing desk. Again, really, really useful, great for live playing. Switching stuff on and off is incredibly simple. So you'll notice on here you have these buttons here. Each one of these buttons represents a different effect in the effects chain. So this is where the restrictiveness comes in. You can only have one of each type of effect. Now, I'm going to put a screenshot up of the front of this, just so I can talk you through what I'm doing. I'm going to press some of the buttons. I haven't got two cameras at the moment, so I can't do this the fancy way. But the effects chain is very rigid, and that's quite useful because it makes it simple to use. So you have a preamp, a wah, distortion, amp, noise reduction, cab, EQ, modulation, delay, and reverb. And you can't have more than one of each in the effects chain. Pre it gives you things like overdrive pedals, it gives you some level of modulation, so you get like pitch shifters in there, that kind of thing as well. And then all the other ones are what they say they are. To switch something on and off when you're playing quickly, all you need to do, so say I want to turn the cab off, all I need to do is press and hold the cab button, and the cab is switched off. Same if I want to turn it back on again. So any of these effects can be switched on and off very quickly in a live situation. You can also assign these three knobs to any one control on each of the effects. So for live use, I've got the first one is the gain control for the distortion pedal. Second one is gain control for the amp, and the third one is the modulation rate. So I have a phaser one here. And then I've set the same up again for the next patch, which has a flanger. Where I've actually set the depth of the flanger for that. Now, if I wanted to change from the depth to rate on that, I press the parameter button once, I press it again to go into the patch settings, I press it again to go into knobs 1 to 3, and that allows me to switch between them all. I choose the third parameter, which is my third dial here, and I just turn the dial until it says rate. I go back. And now the flanger is faster. If I want to save that, I just press and hold the save button. So all in all, this becomes a really, really good tool because it is a practice tool. It is a live tool. The effects are great. We would go through the effects properly in a deeper review. The point of this was to show my initial reaction. My initial reaction to this is it's brilliant. I have it on a board with a Tube Screamer and a Timmy type pedal, just to give me a tiny bit more control of solo boost and a bit of grit if I want it, or a kind of an overdrive, because I'm using the pre usually as a compressor. Where are we? So I've got compressor, I've got a Crybaby wah. Oh no, I'm using the force distortion, which is an OCD. I have a noise gate. I'm then using a dark twin, so that is the Fender twin reverb essentially. Then a phaser. I've got this 999 echo, which is a Maxon echo. I've then got plate reverb, just simple EQ if I need it. On this particular patch, I'm using an external cab. So I've downloaded God's cab, and I put that on there for this particular patch. Before that, I was just using a Fender twin cab that's built in, and then a volume pedal. And that's the other thing. All the amps have matched cabs. You can mix and match them as much as you want to, but you can also upload your own IRs to it, which again just makes it really flexible, because there are certain IRs that people really like. I love God's cab. I think it's a great cab based on a Mesa cab. I'll put a link to it below. And again, it's very flexible because you can control the layout and do things the way you want to, but the rigidity of the effects chain is beneficial because it makes it simpler to work with. Now, it won't be for everybody, because some people really want that huge Helix experience. And I must admit, I'm very tempted by the larger of the Valeton GPs. But again, the size of this, it is really small. This is such a gig board friendly pedal. I could play a gig with this on its own, I think, to be honest, as long as I didn't have too many different sets with different kind of feels to them. But again, all I did was I found some settings that I like that match my usual rig, and then expanded on them with kind of an acoustic rig, a clean rig, some octave stuff. So again, just using it to take what I would normally do and just build on it. So yeah, the Valeton GP200 Jr. is genuinely a fantastic pedal. I'll do a deep review of it soon, and then I'll do a live usage reaction, having done a gig, and tell you how it fared during that. Let me know what you think. There'll be affiliate links below, I'm sure. Like, subscribe, and I'll speak to you again soon. Cheers.